The ongoing debate over universal mail-in voting continues as the presidential election grows closer. But how do young people feel about the issues with the U.S. Postal Service? And would they trust the Postal Service's ability to get the results in accurately and on time? Campus Reform asked some college students. Here's that.
Have you ever had something lost in the mail by the U.S. Postal Service?
Yes, I have, actually.
Since COVID recently, selling things, the mail loses it all the time.
Would you trust them to get the results of the election accurately and on time?
I would trust it, just because I think people are lazy.
Yeah, I feel like if everybody spaces it out, doesn't overwhelm the system, I am very sure that USPS can handle it.
I feel like I would, but either side, I feel like will want a recount anyways.
Joining us to react, Eduardo Neret, digital reporter for Campus Reform. He was in the video asking those tough questions. Eduardo, what'd you make of the responses that you got?
Well, I think there's a huge disconnect. So on the first hand, in the beginning, I talked to students about something we're all familiar with, missing packages, delayed packages, and outright incompetence when trying to mail something. And so students started off saying, yeah, I've experienced that before. It's gotten even worse during the coronavirus. And so when I asked them, would you trust the post office then to deliver your vote, accurately on time, I was pretty surprised to hear them say, yes, I would trust them. They didn't make the connection between their own personal experiences with the post office and their failings with the actual post office's responsibility that they're going to have on their plate this upcoming year to deliver these votes on time. So there's a disconnect there. They haven't seemed to thought it through, and it's going to definitely be a huge issue as we approach November because we're going to have more mail-in votes, I think, than we've ever had in any other election before.
Yeah, of course. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, people want to request their ballots early and make sure that they get them in on time to be counted accurately. But, kind of throughout all of this, there's been these theories going around that the Postal Service is under attack right now, that President Trump is taking out all these mailboxes and preventing people from casting their ballots. Do college students read into that? Can they see past it and how ridiculous it sounds? Or are they, like some I've seen just posting these things online saying to save this service?
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of them are buying into what they're seeing on social media. A couple of students told me that. And I think we're seeing this issue, like a lot of other issues, unfortunately, being split along partisan lines. So at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, we've obviously covered how most college students lean left and are more Democrat voters. And so we see that with this issue. A recent College Pulse poll found that college Democrats say that they're going to vote, most of them, by mail this election, while college Republicans say most of them are going to vote in person. So you see the disconnect there. It's definitely split along partisan lines. But whatever side you lie on this issue, the ultimate truth is that voting is the cornerstone of our democracy. If we can't trust the post office to deliver a package, to deliver a letter, how can we trust them to deliver our vote on time? And so one example that I recently gave students was there was a recent primary in Nevada where 200,000 ballots were just not delivered. And so that's not a mistake. That's straight up incompetence. And so the good thing is, I think the silver lining is a lot of students said, I have seen these theories on social media, but I had not heard what you have told me. I have not heard these examples. I'm going to think about that before I cast my ballot. And so that's all you can do. That's all you can hope for. But the truth is these students aren't really paying attention to the facts here. They're, like you said, looking at these conspiracy theories on social media about the post office.
Yeah, we got to send you around to all the college campuses. Get the accurate information out there. Get the facts out there. You'd have a busy schedule from now till November. But Eduardo, maybe you had some time last night to tune into the RNC. Want to get your thoughts. How'd you think it went? And compare that to the DNC we saw last week.
I thought Maximo Alvarez's speech, the older gentleman who had fled Cuba, was very effective. And I think something that, Trish mentioned in your last segment, which was very interesting and different from the Democratic National Convention, is using real life voices. And so I think any campaign, any convention that can use real Americans, average Americans talking to an audience, talking to a crowd in a video about their experiences and how the last 4 years have been for them is going to be effective. And so the more real people, the more real Americans that either campaign can use to advocate why voters should vote for them, I think that's going to be a key going into the election. Obviously, it seemed to run a little more smoothly. You can't fault either side for that. Zoom and Skype conventions are hard. But I thought the speeches were effective, and I think voters are going to be tuning in later throughout the week.
Yeah, we know we will be. Eduardo, thanks as always for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. You too.
You got it. Still ahead.